Jax's revenge domain.
They call it logistics. I call it keeping America's supply chain moving 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. My name is Jack Miller, and for 22 years, I've been the guy making sure your groceries reach the store, your medications arrive at the pharmacy, and your Amazon packages show up when you need them. Before that, I spent 6 years in the Navy, moving everything from medical supplies to ammunition across the Pacific. You don't know me, but if you've bought anything in the last 2 decades, I probably had a hand in getting it there. I'm 48 years old, and I work for Arcadia Freight Systems. Well, worked, past tense. But let me tell you how I took down a $3 billion empire with nothing but a security clearance and 20 minutes on the clock. Arcadia Freight is one of those companies you've never heard of but couldn't live without. We move 3,000 tons of cargo every single day across the continental United States. Food, medicine, electronics, raw materials. If it needs to get from point A to point B, we're involved. My official title was Senior Operations Director, but what I really did was keep all the moving pieces from crashing into each other. My office wasn't much to look at. Small room on the 3rd floor with a view of the loading docks. I had my Navy flag on the wall, a picture of my daughter Sarah, and a coffee maker that probably violated 6 fire codes, but it was mine, and I could hear the heartbeat of the operation from there. The rumble of trucks, the beep of forklifts, the radio chatter from drivers checking in. See, logistics isn't just about moving boxes, it's about relationships, trust. When a trucker calls me at 2 a.m. because his rig broke down outside Tulsa and he's got a load of insulin that needs to be in Phoenix by morning, he's not calling the company. He's calling Jack Miller because he knows I'll figure it out. I've got security clearances that took years to get Port Authority credentials, Homeland Security certifications. When military cargo needs to move through civilian channels, I'm one of maybe a dozen people in the country authorized to handle the paperwork. That's not something you pick up from YouTube University, but none of that mattered to Travis Henderson Jr. when he walked into the CEO office last spring. Old man Walter Henderson built Arcadia from nothing back in the 80s. Started with 2 trucks and a dream, worked his way up to a logistics empire. Walter and I understood each other. He was Army, Korea, different war, same mentality. Get the job done, take care of your people, don't waste time on nonsense. Then Walter decided to retire to some vineyard in Italy, and his son Travis took over. Travis is 31 years old with an MBA from a school his daddy probably donated a library to. Teeth so white they glow in the dark. Drives a Tesla with CEO1 vanity plates, and thinks disruption means firing everyone over 40 and replacing them with an app. His first week, he installed a smoothie bar in the break room. His second week, he hired Crystal Martinez as Director of Innovation, which meant she posted motivational quotes on the company Instagram account. Week 3, he started talking about synergy and pivoting, in other words that don't mean anything when you're trying to get 40 tons of medical equipment through a blizzard in Montana. I kept my head down. I'm a professional. I've survived 3 recessions, 2 strikes, and a cyber attack that had me routing trucks with paper maps and a CB radio for 6 weeks. I figured I could survive Travis Henderson Jr. The trouble started on a Tuesday in October. Peak shipping season, everything moving at once. Halloween candy, winter coats, early Christmas inventory. I was juggling about 15 different crises when Travis walked by my office with Crystal trailing behind him. Jack, he said, not slowing down, just tossing words over his shoulder. We need to talk about your workspace. Very cluttered, bad optics for investors. I looked at my desk, bills of lading, customs forms, clearance certificates, vendor contracts. It looked like chaos to someone who didn't understand the system. But every piece of paper had a purpose. This wasn't clutter. This was the nervous system of a $3 billion operation. I'm coordinating a Department of Defense shipment, I said, covering the phone receiver. If I move this paperwork, that cargo sits at the port. Travis stopped and turned around, giving me that smile people use when they're talking to confused elderly relatives. We have software for that now, Jack. Everything should be in the cloud. It's 2024. Time to go paperless. He walked away before I could explain that some of this paperwork exists because it can't be digitized. Security protocols, physical custody chains, stuff that requires actual signatures on actual paper because hackers can't break into a filing cabinet. But the real problem came Wednesday morning. Travis sent out an invitation formatted like a wedding announcement on heavy cardstock that probably cost more than my truck payment. Join us this Saturday at the Henderson Estate for a weekend of innovation, team building, and visionary leadership development. Attendance is mandatory for all senior staff Saturday, the busiest day of the month, and also the weekend I had custody of my daughter Sarah. See, I'm divorced, have been for 3 years now. Sarah is 16, lives with her mom during the week, stays with me every other weekend. It's not much time, but it's our time. We fish, we watch movies, we work on her car together. She's applying to colleges next year, and these weekends are about the only chance I have to be her dad instead of just the guy who sends child support checks. I walked down to Travis's office. He was behind a desk the size of my first apartment, playing with some kind of fidget spinner made of titanium. "Travis," I said, "about the retreat. I can't make it this Saturday. I've got my daughter that weekend." He didn't look up from his spinner. "Jack, this isn't optional. We're building a new culture here. Team first, family second." "I appreciate that," I said, keeping my voice level, "but I made a commitment to my daughter. How about I put together a comprehensive briefing for you instead? All the critical operational data you'll need while I'm out." Now he looked up. "Jack, I'm going to be straight with you. Your attitude is exactly what we're trying to change around here. This old school thinking, this resistance to new ideas. You military guys need to adapt." I felt my watch tighten on my wrist. In the Navy, we had a saying, "Smooth seas never made skilled sailors." Travis Henderson Jr. had been sailing smooth seas his entire life. "Copy that," I said. Military response, short and professional. I went back to my office and sent a polite email declining the retreat. Explained about my daughter, offered to provide detailed transition briefs for any critical operations, suggested we schedule a one-on-one meeting the following Monday to discuss any concerns. Professional, respectful, reasonable. Friday afternoon, Travis showed up at my office with Crystal and 2 security guards who looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Jack," Travis said, adjusting his red silk tie, "we're making some organizational changes. Your refusal to participate in team culture events shows you're not aligned with our vision moving forward." I stared at him. The silence stretched out like a rubber band about to snap. "You're firing me," I said. "Not a question. We're transitioning to a more agile leadership structure." Crystal chimed in, her voice high and nasal. "We need people who vibrate on our frequency." I looked at Crystal. I looked at Travis. I looked at the security guards. "Travis," I said, my voice dangerously calm, "I hold the security clearances for this entire operation. I am the authorized signatory for the Port of Los Angeles, the Department of Defense shipping protocols, and the Homeland Security certification for hazardous materials transport. These relationships don't just transfer to the cloud." Travis laughed. It was a dry, ugly sound. "Everyone is replaceable. Jack, that's business 101. Now hand over your badge and security cards." I reached into my wallet. Military ID, driver's license, and there it was. My Arcadia security badge and my Port Authority clearance card. I'd carried these for 22 years. They weren't just plastic and metal. They were trust. Responsibility, authority earned through years of proving I could handle whatever crisis came through the door. I dropped them into Travis's outstretched palm. "Okay," I said. Travis looked disappointed. He wanted a scene. He wanted me to beg or threaten or lose my temper. He wanted to feel like the big man crushing the rebellion. "Tell your dad I said good luck," I added. "My dad is in Europe," Travis sneered. "He doesn't care about middle management." "He will," I said. I grabbed my coffee mug, the picture of Sarah, and my Navy flag. Then I walked out. As the elevator doors closed, I checked my watch, 4:07 p.m. on a Friday afternoon. By Monday morning, Travis Henderson Jr. was going to learn the difference between authority and competence. The parking lot was gray and drizzly, typical October weather. I sat in my F-150 for a minute, listening to the rain tap against the windshield. Most people who get fired after 22 years of service panic. They worry about mortgages and health insurance and starting over in their late 40s. But I wasn't panicking. I was shifting into crisis management mode, except this time, I wasn't managing the crisis for Arcadia. I was the crisis. I pulled out my personal cell phone. I've always kept a firewall between my life and company property. My personal email, my personal contacts. The relationships I'd built weren't Arcadia's relationships. They were Jack Miller's relationships. I opened my email and started typing. Subject: Notice of change in authorized personnel to whom it may concern. Effective immediately, I, Jack Miller, I'm no longer employed by Arcadia Freight Systems. As such, I am no longer the authorized signatory or point of contact for military cargo clearances, port security protocols, or Homeland Security compliance certifications. Per Section 7B of our Master Service Agreements, key personnel changes may trigger an automatic review or suspension of security clearances pending appointment and verification of qualified successor. Please direct all future inquiries to Travis Henderson Jr., CEO. Respectfully, Jack Miller, former Senior Operations Director. I read it over. Dry, factual, legally bulletproof. Section 7B. That was the magic bullet. Years ago, when Arcadia was expanding rapidly, our security ratings were shaky. Government agencies and military contractors were nervous about working with a growing company. To reassure them, Walter Henderson had me write a clause into our major contracts. Basically, if the key personnel who held the security relationships left the company, the contracts could be suspended until the agencies verified and approved new personnel. It was a trust clause. They trusted Jack Miller, not Arcadia Freight Systems. I started sending emails. Port of Los Angeles, Department of Defense Logistics Command, Homeland Security Freight Division, Coast Guard, Customs and Border Protection. One by one, down the list. Send, send, send. Each email was a domino. Each domino was worth about $100 million in annual contracts. My phone buzzed. Text message from Sarge Sullivan, my contact at the Gulf Coast Teamsters. Jack, what the hell? Just got a bounce back from your work email saying user unknown. You okay? I called him back. I'm out, Sarge. New management let me go this afternoon. Let you go. Sarge's voice sounded like gravel in a blender. Does this kid know we've got $2 million worth of chemical cargo staged for Monday pickup? That would be Travis's problem now, I said. He's got all the answers. Yeah, well, my drivers don't move hazmat without proper clearance authorization, and they sure as hell don't move it without someone they trust signing off on the safety protocols. Section 7B, Sarge. I can't authorize what I'm no longer authorized to authorize. Copy that, Jack. Trucks are parking. I drove to Murphy's Diner, a truck stop about 3 miles from Arcadia. It's the kind of place where the coffee tastes like motor oil and the eggs are cooked in grease older than Travis. It was perfect. I set up my laptop at a corner booth and ordered coffee. Black, no sugar. The waitress, whose name tag said Rose, had been working there since before I started at Arcadia. Rough day, honey? She asked, refilling my cup. Career transition, I said. Keep the coffee coming, Rose. My phone started buzzing. Incoming call from Los Angeles Port Authority. Incoming call from DoD Freight Command. Incoming call from Travis Henderson Jr. I let Travis ring. He called 3 more times. I watched his name dance on the screen and took another sip of coffee. At 6:15 p.m., my phone lit up with a text from Linda Foster, the payroll manager. Linda's good people, goes to church, brings homemade cookies to work, remembers everyone's birthday. Jack, OMG, are you really gone? Travis is screaming in the hallway. The computer systems are locked and he can't access the vendor portal. I chuckled. I hadn't locked anything. I just wasn't there to receive the 2-factor authentication codes that got sent to my personal phone every time someone tried to log into the secure systems. I texted back, I didn't lock anything, Linda, but tell him those authentication codes expire every 60 seconds. He might want to work fast. I didn't send him the codes. By 7 p.m., I had a tracking website open showing Arcadia's entire fleet in real time. Red dots were appearing across the map. Red meant stopped for more than 30 minutes outside normal delivery windows. There was a cluster of red dots forming outside Chicago. That would be the Midwest hub. The security gate codes get reset every Monday morning for the secure yard. I usually text the new codes to drivers Sunday night. This was Friday. Monday's codes weren't generated yet, and I wasn't going to be around to generate them. My phone rang, unknown number, but I recognized the area code. New York, Mr. Miller? This is Davidson, legal counsel for Atlantic Heavy Haul. Our drivers are locked out of the Arcadia facility in Newark. Your office isn't responding to calls. Are we in breach of contract? Mr. Davidson, I said, I'm no longer with Arcadia. You'll need to contact Travis Henderson Jr. directly. But you might want to review Section 7B of your service agreement. 3 minutes later, another red dot appeared on the map in Newark. At 8 p.m., Crystal Martinez called me. She sounded like she was hyperventilating. Jack, you have to give us the access codes. The drivers are calling the police. They think we've abandoned the cargo, Crystal. I said gently, I don't have access to those systems anymore. I'm a civilian now, but you know the codes. Sharing security credentials with unauthorized personnel is a federal crime under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. I could go to prison. You wouldn't want that, would you? There was stunned silence on the other end. I'm putting you on speaker, she said. Jack, Travis's voice was tight, strained. The arrogance had cracked, leaking panic. Stop playing games. Give us the codes, or we're suing you for sabotage. Travis, I said, you fired me for culture fit. You said I was replaceable. Surely your agile leadership team can contact the IT vendor and request a system reset. We called. They said the account administrator has to authorize the reset. That's you. Sounds like a flaw in your organizational chart, I said. I'd suggest calling their emergency support line. It's only $5,000 per hour, but they can probably get you back online in 24 to 48 hours. 48 hours? Travis exploded. We have 400 tons of pharmaceuticals sitting in refrigerated trucks in Miami. The temperature control systems are failing. I knew about those trucks. The refrigeration units run off a separate fuel system that requires weekly authorization codes. Those codes had expired yesterday. That's a problem, I said. Medical cargo is tricky. Did anyone remember to renew the fuel cards for the reefer units? I heard what sounded like someone punching a desk. Fix this, Jack. Come back and fix this, and maybe we won't destroy you in court. Are you offering me my job back? I'm offering you a chance to avoid being sued into bankruptcy. No thanks, I said. I'm having dinner with my daughter tonight. We're going fishing tomorrow morning. It's called priorities. I hung up. I called Tampa Eddie, the warehouse manager in Miami. Eddie's an ex-Marine, served 2 tours in Afghanistan before getting into freight logistics. Eddie, it's Jack. I'm out. The kid fired me this afternoon. Jesus, Jack, we heard rumors. What do you need? Those pharma trucks in your yard. The reefer fuel cards are going to start declining. Don't let the drivers sit there burning diesel for nothing. Hook them up to shore power at your facility. Use the emergency contingency account. I set up 3 years ago. Roger, that will take care of the cargo. But Jack, what about the drivers? These guys have families. The drivers are going to be fine, Eddie. Trust me on that. I closed the laptop and drove home. Sarah was waiting for me, homework spread across the kitchen table. She looked up when I walked in. Dad, you're early and you look weird. I got fired today, I said. Sarah blinked. Seriously? Seriously. New boss wanted me to work this weekend instead of spending time with you. So you got fired for choosing me? I got fired for having priorities. She hugged me. Tight. I'm proud of you, Dad. We ordered pizza and watched old movies. Sarah fell asleep on the couch around 10 p.m. I carried her to the guest room, covered her with a blanket, and then sat on my back porch with a beer. My phone was still buzzing with messages. Vendors, drivers, port authorities, all trying to figure out what was happening. I ignored them all. At 11:30 p.m., my phone rang. Walter Henderson Sr. Jack. His voice sounded like broken glass. Is it true? Did Travis fire you? Yes, sir. This afternoon. And the operation? Everything stopped? Not stopped, Mr. Henderson. Secured. When you remove the key personnel from a security-critical operation, protocols require a full review before resuming activities. Jack, I've got $3 billion of cargo sitting dead in the water. The stock price has dropped 40% since markets opened in Asia. I understand that's frustrating. Can you come back? I'll fire Travis. I'll give you his job. Name your price. I looked through the kitchen window at Sarah sleeping on the couch. Mr. Henderson, I appreciate that. I really do, but I'm done. I've got other opportunities, and frankly, I'm tired of cleaning up messes I didn't make. There was a long pause. What do you need from me, Jack? What would make this, right? Nothing from you, sir. But there are 400 drivers and dock workers whose pension fund Travis has been raiding to pay for Crystal's innovation projects. Those people served this company loyally for decades. Make sure they get what they earned. How do you know about the pension fund? Because I've been watching the books for 22 years. Travis isn't as smart as he thinks he is. Walter Henderson was quiet for a full minute. I'll make it right, Jack. The pension fund, the drivers, all of it. But the company will probably be fine under new management. There's a company called Global Logistics that's been trying to acquire Arcadia for years. Their CEO is an Army veteran named Gerald Stone. He understands the business. You already have another job. I have an offer. VP level. They respect experience. I'm proud of you, son, Walter said. I should have seen this coming. You were trying to trust your family. I respect that. After I hung up, I opened a beer and called Gerald Stone. Jack Miller, he said, picking up on the first ring. I heard about what happened. How fast can you start Monday morning? But I have conditions. Name them. I want to hire 50 drivers from the Arcadia fleet. Good people who got caught up in this mess, and I want to take over their military contracts. The drivers know me. The government agencies know me. It'll be a smooth transition. Done. Anything else? I run my division my way. No micromanagement, no innovation directors, no mandatory retreats. You want results, you'll get results. You want synergy, hire a consultant. Gerald laughed. Deal. Welcome to Global Logistics. Saturday morning, Sarah and I went fishing at the lake. It was cold, gray, peaceful. We didn't catch anything, but we talked about college applications and her plans for the future. Around noon, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Arcadia Freight Systems CEO arrested on federal embezzlement charges. I showed Sarah the headline. Your old boss, my old boss's son. Karma, Sarah said, casting her line back into the water, something like that. Monday morning, I started my new job at Global Logistics. Corner office, American flag on the wall, and a coffee maker that was definitely up to code. My first call was to Sarge Sullivan. Sarge, it's Jack. New company, same old Jack. We ready to get back to work? Been waiting for your call. When do we roll? Immediately. And Sarge, we're hiring. Pass the word to your best drivers. Time to build something better. The integration went smoother than I expected. Most of the good drivers followed me to Global. The government contracts transferred without a hitch. The military cargo kept moving. America's supply chain didn't skip a beat. 3 months later, Arcadia Freight was sold at bankruptcy auction. Global Logistics bought the assets for cents on the dollar, and I personally oversaw the integration. The facilities were absorbed into our network. The pension fund was fully restored before the sale went through. Travis Henderson Jr. pled guilty to embezzlement and got 18 months in federal prison. Crystal Martinez moved to Phoenix and started selling insurance. Last I heard, she was posting motivational quotes about overcoming adversity on LinkedIn. Walter Henderson kept his word. Every driver got their full pension. Every dock worker got their benefits. He sold his vineyard in Italy and moved back to Texas, where he volunteers at a veterans center. We have lunch occasionally. He tells me stories about building Arcadia from scratch. I tell him stories about Sarah's college visits. Gerald Stone turned out to be everything Walter Henderson should have passed the company to. Army Logistics, Desert Storm veteran, understands that moving freight is about moving people's lives. Under his leadership, Global Logistics became the third largest freight company in North America. As for me, I'm exactly where I should be. VP of Strategic Operations, Global Logistics. I move freight, I take care of my people, and every other weekend, I take my daughter fishing. She's a sophomore at Texas A&M now, studying engineering. She wants to design better transportation systems. I'm proud of her. Sometimes she asks about that weekend when I chose her over a corporate retreat and how it led to me taking down a $3 billion company. I tell her the truth. I didn't destroy Arcadia Freight Systems. I just stopped holding it together. There's a difference. Travis Henderson Jr. thought he was the captain of the ship, but he was just a passenger who didn't realize the engine room was what kept everything moving. When you disrespect the people who actually do the work, who actually understand the systems, who actually have the relationships that matter, you don't get to act surprised when it all falls apart. The hazmat spill that finally brought down federal investigators, that happened because Travis hired an unqualified driver through a gig app to move dangerous chemicals. The driver didn't have the proper endorsements, didn't understand the safety protocols, didn't know that you can't take certain turns at certain speeds with that kind of cargo. The spill shut down Interstate 80 for 6 hours and cost the EPA $2 million to clean up. That's what happens when you prioritize cheap over competent. But here's the thing I learned from all this. Respect isn't inherited, it's earned. One relationship, one delivery, one kept promise at a time. And when you've earned that respect, when people trust you to get the job done right, that's power you can't buy with an MBA or a trust fund. You know what I've realized after 28 years of moving freight and taking care of people? The best revenge isn't getting even. It's being so good at what you do that when someone tries to replace you, they find out they can't. And sometimes when entitled kids try to play grown-up games with real-world consequences, they discover that competence beats confidence every single time. This isn't just my story. It's the story of every working man and woman who's ever been told they're replaceable by someone who's never done the actual work. You know your worth, don't let anyone convince you otherwise. And remember, in a world full of people who talk a good game, the ones who can actually deliver will always win in the end.